Hello and welcome back. Today I would like to talk to you about the biggest challenge picture-wise that I ever had. So today I would like to tell you the story about Wait What, which is the name of the picture, in this new episode of Behind the Lens with Simone Photography, which is me. All right, so it happened a few years ago. The magazine that I work with called me one day, and of course, when they call, you answer the phone right away, and they told me, "Hey, are you available?" It was about February, March. Are you available on this and that day? Sure. What is the deal? What is the challenge? And all right, we are going to send you out to Yellowstone National Park in that area, Montana, Wyoming, and this is what we are actually looking for. We are looking for a female bear, a vertical shot, staring at you. And I was like, yeah, sure, what else? So the magazine is really picky and they know very well what they usually want. And they knew that they needed a couple of pictures of this female bear vertical shot. So they had very, very specific requests. But of course you say, sure, why not? So when am I leaving? Oh, it's gonna be next week. We're gonna set up the flight, the whole plan, and we'll let you know. Long story short, I fly to, if I don't remember, if I remember correctly, it was Salt Lake City, and I drive back, and I drive up, right? I drive up. I go to West Yellowstone, which was my kind of base. West Yellowstone is already in Montana, so I crossed Wyoming and I went to West Yellowstone and I met my videographer. When I say my videographer, is because he's usually is the same one that worked with me for every expedition that I do. And we meet the special tour guide. Wherever we go, we have a special tour guide that knows the area. When we are looking for specific animals, they are all tracked so they know, hey, we saw them lately in that area or in that state or in around that lake. So for specifically for this bear, they say, hey, we are gonna drive up very north of Montana. There is a lake that is not very common. Not the tourists that usually don't stop by there. And because of that, it's easier that we can find wildlife. So we get the minivan and we drive up there. Now we get there, pretty nice lake, very exciting. And Peter, that is my videographer, says, okay, so we gotta find a right spot where we can hide and try to figure out, okay, so what if a bear will come, to get some water or play in the water? What is the right angle? So we study the sun. The sun is rising over there, is setting over there. So what about if we try to hide behind this bush? All right, so we hide behind that bush. And what I told you before, that has been the biggest challenge that I ever had. You know why? Because it took me 27 days to take that picture. I know it sounds crazy. And, the common question was, did you actually sleep in that bush for 26 nights? No. But we used to stay there from sunrise to sunset. But for different reasons, it didn't happen. And one day it was raining. And, when it rains, everything looks darker, and we didn't want raindrops in the camera, which means in the picture. But you gotta stay there because you never know, it might stop raining. And then another day was really cloudy, sorry. And one day just nothing happened. And a day, and another day, and another day. And the beauty of the job that I have is that the magazine sends you out there, and they give you an open ticket. What does it mean? It means that you know when you are flying over, but you don't know when you come back, because you're not coming back until you get what they want, which is pretty cool. Because yes, true, you don't know when you're coming back. It might be a day, it might be a week, it might be almost a month, 27 days. But the beauty of the job is that you know before that what you are going to bring back is going to be something unique, something that it's going to be awesome. So you are always very pumped up, even if, a day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, and nothing really happened. Nothing good really happened. Of course, some other wildlife join the lake for a sip of water. I got thousands of pictures, but nothing about bears. Nothing. So, sunset, back to the hotel. So, yes, very comfortable at the end of the day, because you have an hotel, so you don't. I promise you, I didn't sleep on the bush, in the bush, and the day after, from sunrise to sunset. So at some point, you stop counting the days. You just want to make it happen. It needs to happen, because at some point, it gets kind of boring. Yes, different wildlife, as I said, from bald eagles to wolves, but no bears. And the reason why it gets a little bit boring, because we usually are 5 people. So Peter, the videographer, myself, the special tour guide that once he brings in the place, it usually stays far further back. And then we have a couple of people that I like to call them soldiers, which of course they are not soldiers, but they have guns to shoot in the air if something wrong is getting close to happen. And thank God, never happened. So I don't even know if they really shoot in the air or not. But just in case the wildlife get too close to you and you are not able to run away, just to create those 5-10 seconds, shooting in the air, create a noise, create something to distract the animal, and we will be able to step back, run away, or whatever. So one day, out of the blue, these 2 bears are starting to fight very badly in the water. I can tell you now that we've been told later on that day that they were not actually fighting, they were just playing in the water, and technically they were not even adult bears, they were just cubs. But believe me, they look ginormous over there. So they start to, again, for me, fighting in the water, splashing, roaring. Is the bear actually roaring? What is the noise of the bear? Roaring. Let's say roaring. And they are fighting in the water. And of course, I have my long lens. Usually for those trips, I bring between 10 and 11 different lenses. I go from a very, very wide angle to a very long zoom, because, you're not going to get that close to the bears. You want to make sure you can get close with your lenses. So for that specific trip, expedition, I had, long lens wise, I have the 120-300 Sigma, and I have the 400 Canon, and I had the 600 Canon. So, I'm using actually the 600. I have these 2 bears fighting, splashing, pretty cool. And at some point, Peter touched me and says, very, very slowly and very, very low, because we got used to spend a lot of time with each other, and we know that we can't really make noise, because after 27 days, if one of the 2 makes noise and the animal run away, what do you do? So it tells me, Simone, look at your right. And I'm like, shut up, Peter. I can't right now. We finally have some action, some bear's movement over there. Click, 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 click. And he's like, no, no, Simone, you gotta turn right now. Okay, so I have my 600 on a monopod. So the whole weight is on the monopod and I just balance right and left, right? So I drop my lens and I turn right because he just told me to turn right. But I was kind of annoyed like that he was talking in the wrong moment. I turned around and well, she, because now I know it's a she was sitting literally right there, talking about 15, 20 feet away. And, surprised, but at the same time, you can't do much. Now, we've been trained about these kind of situations. Don't run away, don't scream, don't do anything particularly don't do anything that can bring the bear attention. Now, you can look at me, even if I would try to run away, it wouldn't really work. And I have like 20, probably 30 pounds of gears. Usually, I don't have just a long lens, I have a second camera, sometimes even a third camera with a medium and definitely a wide angle lens. You never know what happens, right? You need to be prepared, you need to be ready, you need to be safe. So he asked me, Simone, what do we do? And honestly, there's no much you can do. You can't run away, as I just said. And I told him, but I told him as a joke, but it wasn't actually a joke. I said, Peter, you keep filming, I keep shooting, and let's hope that one of the two can actually make it and bring the job back. And again, today I'm laughing at that, but at that moment I remember that he turned around, he kept filming, and I turned around, I switched my camera with a wide angle because it was right there. So my 600 and even the 400 lens were too far away, too long, and the bear was too close. So I started to click, and she, again, now we know it's a she was sitting and kept staring at us. And then out of the blue, she stood up and she started to walk very, very slowly towards us. So we have these two soldiers behind us. They touch us like, hey, do you want us to do anything? And we are so excited when we do those expeditions. Safety first, don't take me wrong. Safety first, always. But you are in a position where you can run away, and let's be honest, millions of people would like to be in our position at that moment. Not just photographers, I'm talking about a regular tourist, a regular bear fan, right? So we try to let them know, don't shoot in the air yet. And I remember I changed my lens, I got it with a wide angle. Actually, it was the 24-70, and because she was walking on our direction, I flipped the camera in a vertical because I couldn't fit her all because she was getting too close, even for the 24-70. So I flipped the camera and I started to click, like, never stop. And you can see from this particular pic, look at the mouth. So I have like 100 pictures that if you put them one next to each other and you try to kind of like a cartoon, you slide them one next to each other, you can see that she's almost talking to us. She's moving her mouth like, I'm gonna get you, do whatever you want. I don't need to run towards you because you cannot run away. And we click and we click and we click. And then, thank God, if I'm here to tell you the story, it's because she got distracted by a big blue garbage can. Probably the shape, the color, maybe there was something inside, the smell, I don't know. She started to roll over it. And because of that, she got distracted from us. So we realized, like, this is the time, let's go back. The minivan was probably 100, 200, 300, 400 feet away behind us. So very slowly we stood up, grabbed all the equipment, step back, another step back, another step back, minivan, boom, run away, run away. Let's move and towards to the hotel. So finally, it's digital. So we've been able in the minivan to go back and check the pictures for me and whatever he was recording for Peter. And I'm like, oh, wow, that was really close. And it's a vertical shot. And she's definitely looking at us. But at that point, we didn't know if it was a female or a male. And the tour guide told us it's a female because the two bears that are fighting, playing in the water, they are actually her cubs. So, wherever you have cubs, wherever you have babies, mom is somewhere. So probably she thought that we were a threat because, she sees us with these big canoes and she's like, what's going on here? What are they doing? This is my home. This is my habitat. What are you guys doing? So she probably just literally tried to let us understand it's time you to go. She didn't want to eat us. She just wanted to scare us, which, by the way, she did. She accomplished that, and she accomplished that very well. But in the meantime, we were like, we did it. Peter, we actually did it. So now we have a female, because now we know it's a female. We have a vertical shot, and she's definitely looking at us. So we go back to the hotel, very excited, and first thing I did was to call my wife, to warn her, hey, I'm sorry, honey, but it's time for me to come back. So if you are partying home, send everybody home because probably tomorrow I'm coming home. And she was like, oh, so you did it, you got it. Can you send me a screenshot? Of course I do. And so I take with the phone a screenshot of the camera and I send it to her. And after like 5-10 minutes, she called me back and I'm like, yes, what's happening? Are you crazy or what? And I'm like, for what? How far were you? And I'm like, I actually don't know. How far you think we were? And, tour guide and Peter, like, probably about 15, 20, not more than 25 feet away. You are crazy. That's so dangerous. Yeah, don't worry. I tried to be the macho man of the situation. But then I hung up the phone and then the adrenaline finally dropped down and I realized, yes, how lucky I am, not just to tell you the story, how lucky I am to do this job, but how lucky I am that she got distracted by a big blue garbage can. So this is the story of Way What. I call it Way What because look at the expression of her face. She's like, what are you doing? 27 days. This is the longest for sure, probably not the hardest challenge, but the longest challenge I ever had. I believe that my job is not just a click and go. You gotta wait for the right moment. You gotta be in the right spot. Definitely, you gotta know how to react in this kind of dangerous situation. You gotta also know what you are doing. So you gotta know, change the lens at the right time, change the settings at the right time, because this is a kind of trick for whoever wants to pursue the photography dream, the photography route. If the bear it's 100, 200 feet away, the light is way different than if it's 20 feet away, because the closer she will get, the less light I will have. So you gotta be reactive and think, oh, I gotta change the settings. So for whoever is already into photography more than just an amateur that is trying to start that dream, that route, even if it was 2 or 3 p.m., so pretty sunny, these pictures, it's at least 2,000, probably even 2,500 shutter speed, even if I didn't need that high shutter speed. And because of that, my ISO went from 200, probably was enough for a regular landscape picture. It went over 800, probably 1,000, because I needed to make sure, what if she runs away? What if she runs towards me? I need to make sure that I last the action and not that anything will be blurry. So it was fun. Again, I'm here to tell the story, so it's even funnier now. But for sure, something to remember: respect the nature, respect the wildlife, respect what your tour guide or the ranger says. Never approach wildlife, never approach any kind of animal. Leave them alone. If you leave them alone, they will leave you alone. They are not gonna eat you, they are not gonna attack you unless you do something that make them think that they are in danger. And the best defense is to attack. So if you respect the nature, if you respect the rules that are out there, remember, this is their habitat, this is their house. So we gotta respect them. I think this is all. Wait, what? 27 days, longest challenge ever. I thank you for listening to me. Thank you for being here on this episode of Behind the Lens with Simone Maduzzi Photography. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, follow my social media, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest. Follow me for my new adventure, and I can't wait to tell you the story behind the lens of a new adventure.